live from the firstandmonday.com palatial studios located in beautiful Bangor, Maine. Welcome back to another episode of the Fam.com podcast. Yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where this podcast finds you. I am Bruce Harris, and welcome to the Fam.com podcast. Okay, so coming up this week, we'll take a look at some NCAA and NFL action that went down over the past week. We'll take a look forward at this coming weekend slate of games. Of course, there is some controversy brewing out there in the NCAA, especially as it relates to the SEC. We'll give you the firstandmonday.com man of the week, as well as our asshole of the week. We do have an interview scheduled. I believe we have a caller from the great state of Mississippi. As long as he has cell phone service and enough minutes left on his cricket phone, we should be able to pull that off for you guys. And we also have a music feature, a band maybe you haven't heard of yet, that you need to hear, that you need to get on your iPod. Alrighty, so jumping right in. Last week kicked off the NFL season. You had the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning hosting the defending Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. Game was delayed for quite a while due to lightning in the area. Not sure what can be done about that. We'll have to check with Al Gore, see if we can get these games kicked off on time. The game was close for the first half. Ravens actually took a lead into the locker room, but in the second half, they could not stop Peyton Manning. No, sir. Dude threw for 7 touchdowns, tying an all-time NFL record. I pity the fool that didn't have him on your fantasy football team this week. Automatic L if you went up against the owner that had him. Wes Welker made his debut in a Bronco uniform and hauled in 2 of those 7 touchdowns. Think Tom Brady's missing old Wes about now? Of course, Monday night saw the debut of Chip Kelly's fast-paced offense. Boy, was that something to see? Eagles, Redskins. Pre-game had a little bit of coverage on RG3, and his entrance showed what we always knew. It's all about the team. He puts the team before himself. He doesn't want any extra attention. As he took the Redskins flag, ran 100 yards across the field, and planted it in the other end zone while he did the Tebow pose. Say what you will about the dude. All I can say is he looks like old Greg from the Mighty Boosh. But the main storyline of this game had to be the Eagles' up-tempo, high-octane offense. Their first few drives, it looked like Xbox out there. Vic was doing whatever he wanted to. Shady McCoy looks like the perfect back for this system. Even the racist white guy at receiver, Riley Cooper, was making plays. As always, you had some upsets. I don't think anyone was more upset than Jaguar fans. I think they put up 2 points for the whole game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, first of all, you live in Jacksonville. Colossal shithole. Second of all, you got to go to that stadium and watch this product that they call professional. Who came up with these new helmets they're wearing? All right, they're matte black in the front. They're gold in the back half. There's like no fade, no transition there, just black and then gold. Reminds me of a Guinness and Bass beer or Harp, whatever they use. A black and tan is what these helmets look like. And I guess it makes sense. Fans really need to drink if they're going to be watching that shit all season. Another dude who was quite upset after this weekend in the NFL was new Miami Dolphins free agent signing, Mr. $60 million man, Mike Wallace. Why was he upset? Not because of his paycheck. Dude got paid. They must have lost to the Browns. Nope. Team actually won. Team won their first game on the road. Never an easy thing to do. But after the game, Wallace was disgruntled. Felt he didn't get the ball thrown his way enough. Dude, if they want to use you as a decoy, just shut up and cash your check. Team first. Okay? They brought you in to take the top off the defense, not to run your mouth. which you were doing the week leading up to the game anyway when you were talking smack about DB Joe Hayden of the Browns. Now, whether it was because you were not targeted enough or because you couldn't get open, looks like Hayden had the better end of the matchup last week. Now, if you haven't already checked out our weekly fantasy football updates on FirstOnMonday.com, our fantasy guru does a great job. And he has told me that so far, through 1 week of action, Peyton Manning is on pace to throw 112 touchdowns this season. That's like some Dan Marino numbers there. And he'll probably put up 7,392 yards at this torrid pace. Shady McCoy for the Eagles on pace for 2,944 yards rushing. I think that might be a record of some sort. Anquan Boldin, newest addition to the San Francisco 49ers. If he keeps up this pace, 3,328 yards receiving. Those are some gaudy numbers. So all you fantasy players, if you happen to own one of these guys, apart from Manning, who will put up similar numbers most of this year, it's time to trade those other guys. You can trade McCoy, trade him. He's probably going to get hurt. His production is bound to go down. I think Vic's going to get hurt too. And as far as Anquan Boldin, he's not going to put up those numbers week after week. So find somebody you can sucker. You know that guy that plays in your league at work, works in the IT department? Yeah, that Parth dude? Yeah, see if you can sucker him. I think he'll take your overinflated goods. Let's warp right over to last week's college action. I want to talk about University of Miami and your Fighting Florida Gators. Miami pulled out the victory 23-16 at home in front of a mostly filled stadium, which is unusual. Close to half of them were Gator fans, so there you go. Main difference in this game was turnovers. Gators gave the ball away 5 times. Jeff Driscoll was a pick waiting to happen. Might have had something to do with the thong he was wearing. Pictures of which can be found on the internet if you're into that kind of thing. Also, we had Michigan in the big house, Michigan, defeating Notre Dame. Michigan's quarterback was honored by wearing the number 98, which used to belong to some white dude back in the 20s or 30s named Tom Harmon. So now Devin Gardner, who used to be number 12, is saddled with this 98 jersey, which looks utterly ridiculous, and he'll be wearing that for the rest of the year. So besides the aesthetics, Gardner looked good. He looked real good. And on the other sideline, Brian Kelly looked mad, really mad. I'd hate to be around Notre Dame's practice this week, especially if you're in a tower, filming during a storm, if you know what I'm saying. Speaking of real mad, how mad is Texas fan right now? Texas went out to BYU, playing in Provo, Utah, and they got curb stomped. BYU racked up over 550 yards on the vaunted Texas Longhorn defense. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey Mac Brown, goodbye. How long before we see the midget Nick Saban rocking the burnt orange? Speaking of St. Nick, the SEC is in a little bit of hot water this week after Yahoo started reporting that several SEC players have been taking cash, impermissible benefits, shocker, including DJ Fluker from the Crimson Tide. Roll Tide! And Saban really didn't want to discuss it in his press conference. All he wanted to talk about was this week's upcoming game. In fact, the news broke on what would have been Paul Bear Bryant's 100th birthday. Roll Tide. The report also implicates a couple of lesser-known players from Mississippi State. And to react to those Bulldog allegations, we actually have a caller on the line. Right now on the FirstOnMonday.com hotline, we have a Mississippi State fan. How are you today, sir?
Man, I'm really upset about this, situation. My school over here, Mississippi State University, is already on probation. Now our players are being indicated, or our former players, of taking impermissible benefits. What is the deal,
I mean, with all the money these college football teams are making off these players, you don't think they deserve some kind of benefits? What are they getting?
I mean, food. They get their clothing taken care of. They get all them T-shirts stuff they wear all the time. You know, so Mississippi State football on them. They get their home taken care of. They got a nice warm bed to sleep in at night every day. You know, they get to go work out in the athletic department, lift weights and stuff every day. They get a lot of help from classmates. They get a free girlfriend. You know, they get a little bit of everything.
Well, you can say a free girlfriend, but look, these guys are getting laid anyway. They're football players. They're rock stars, especially in the SEC. Come on.
Well, once they get to campus, they are. But you know, that's because they get a free girlfriend. You know, they get to choose which one they want. They bring them out there, and they got to line up and say, all right, you know, you're our starting quarterback. You can choose any three you want. And you know, that wide receiver gets to choose two. And you know, offensive lineman, he only gets one. But you know, he's a real workhorse of the team. But you know, other than that, those girls will help him out, tutoring, taking care of his classwork. You know, take care of him. You know, he needs somebody to go eat dinner with tonight. They'll go do that for him. And you know, those extra benefits. You know, they got all kinds of cows and stuff out there for them.
Now wait a minute. We're not talking about white women, are we?
Hey, we are talking about Mississippi. So rural Mississippi. So yes.
All right, very good. All right, we got to run, but thanks for calling in. As you probably know, FirstOnMonday.com specializes in all things manly. And right now, we're going to bring to you the FirstOnMonday.com Man of the Week. The story was on the UPI earlier this week from China. Headline reads, Chinese man arrested for performing sexorcism. Apparently, dude over there was claiming to be a paranormalist, and he was arrested after performing what he called a sexorcism on a woman. He told that woman he was going to help rid her of a ghost and her vagina. Oldest pickup line in the book, by the way. Hey, baby, you want me to get rid of that ghost down there and you have a JJ? Well, all you got to do is come home with me and pay me $3,000. Yeah, he actually got this woman to pay him $3,000 to perform this sexorcism. Now, my Cantonese is a bit rusty, as is my Mandarin, so forgive me as I try to pronounce this name, just in case you are of either of those persuasions, but Huang Jinwan was arrested after he convinced this woman that he could remove evil spirits from her vagina by performing a sexorcism. Price, $3,000. Now, for her part, she admits she did seek him out. She went to him voluntarily because he was a self-proclaimed ghost hunter. And for whatever reason, she thought a ghost hunter might be able to help her in seducing her boss. That's what she was looking to get out of this whole thing. He said, yeah, baby, I can help you seduce your boss, but first we got to get rid of them evil spirits down in your vagina. Sounds legit. For his defense, he claims he never even had sex with the woman. In fact, he says he can't even get an erection due to having diabetes. But the fact remains that he's currently in jail awaiting trial. He does have one thing going for him, though. Due to that great pickup line and the fact that he had an alibi, he was thinking quick and blamed his limp dick on the diabetes, he is our FirstOnMonday.com Man of the Week. And sticking with the international theme, our asshole of the week comes to us from England. 23-year-old Robert Newman was arrested for assaulting an animal, jailed for having sex with a goat. He's currently doing 6 weeks for the crime. Now, goat fucking happens all the time, especially in the SEC. Problem with this guy, reason he is our asshole of the week, is he left the poor thing needing veterinarian treatment. The prosecutor told the court, this person has cost us a considerable amount of money because we've had to install security cameras. We've also had to pay for the vet's fees and antibiotics for the injuries sustained by the goat. Now, it's one thing to have a relationship with a goat. You know, if you're both consenting adults, maybe you meet online, goatmatch.com, plenty of goat in the sea. You wine and dine the goat. You get to know the goat. You send dick pics to the goat. You know, whatever. It's one thing if you have a respecting mutual relationship and then the goat decides to let you have some. But if you leave the goat needing vet care, needing antibiotics for whatever nasty junk you gave it, that's just wrong. Not even right. And whether you live in Kentucky, Alabama, Roll Tide, or in this case, England, hijinks like that will get you labeled with FirstOfMonday.com Asshole of the Week. Looking ahead to this coming weekend's action on the gridiron. Starting Thursday night in college, you got TCU on the road at Texas Tech. Yawn. Let's see, you got Louisville at Kentucky. That's usually a grudge match there in the Bluegrass State. But I think Louisville can name their score this year. Interesting game. Noon Eastern on ABC. Number 16, UCLA at Nebraska. The vaunted Black Shirts. Remember them? It's been a minute. Anyway, I think I'm going to take Jim Mora's upstart Bruin squad on the road to get the upset. Well, they're ranked higher. I'm not sure what the line is. It'll be upset in many people's minds. I know a couple people that'll be very upset. The big game, one everyone's talking about, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, CBS, covering the SEC conference. Number 1, Alabama, traveling to number 6, Johnny Football, and the fighting Texas A&M Aggies. You know, with all the controversy, all the news that's been hovering over the Alabama program this week in particular, I think that's going to galvanize them. I think that's only going to make them focus more. Plus, they're still salty after last year's loss. I'm taking Bama. Taking Bama by a touchdown in this game. In a high-scoring affair out in Oregon, you got the Tennessee Volunteers on the road against the number 2 Ducks. I'm predicting 90 points in this game. 60-30, Ducks win. Be interesting to see how FSU fares in week number 2 under Jesus Christ superstar Jameis Winston. But they're only playing the lowly Nevada Wolfpack, who does produce some good talent. They might put up a fight for the first half. We'll see if they do as well as Pitt did for at least one half of the game. Other than that, sort of a lackluster weekend in college football. I mean, you can look at number 25, Ole Miss, on the road in Austin, playing Texas. Boy, Texas really needs a win. Poor Mac Brown. I just don't see it happening. I see Ole Miss by 1 on the road. And the Fire Mac contingents will only grow stronger. And let's see, we got number 20, Wisconsin Badgers on the road in the desert playing the Sun Devils. Both teams are undefeated early on. I'm going with the Sun Devils. Let's go Sparky. NFL-wise, Thursday night, you got the Jets at the Patriots. You got the Jets having the miracle win against the Buccaneers, the hapless Bucks. Jets pulled that one off at home. You also have the Jets without Mark Sanchez. It looks like he's going to be out for the year with a bum shoulder, which can only help their chances of winning. But they're just not going to get it done in Foxborough. No way they beat the Hoodie on Thursday night. Take the Patriots and take them big. You got the Dolphins at the Colts. Both teams undefeated. Colts looking real good. Andrew Luck looks like the real deal. But Dolphins get the upset. Late field goal gives them the win. You got the Rams 1-0 at the Dirty Birds. The Falcons are 0-1. They lost a tough one to their nemesis, their rivals, the New Orleans Saints last week. They're going to get it right this week. Falcons get to 500 by beating the Rams. Carolina at Buffalo, who cares? Vikings at the Bears, the Bears. Trestman goes 2-0. You got the 0-1 Redskins against the 0-1 Green Bay Packers. Tough game. Got to go with the Lambeau Leap. Packers take this one. Cowboys on the road against the Chiefs. Both teams undefeated. After this week, Andy Reid and the Chiefs will be 500. Take the boys. You got the Bolts, San Diego, traveling east to play Chip Kelly's Philadelphia Eagles. Be interesting to see how the Bolts handle that fast-paced offense. I think the Eagles are going to run wild all over them. Eagles win big in that one. You got the 0-1 Browns against the 0-1 defending Super Bowl champion Ravens. Ravens get to 500 with the win. Tennessee and Houston both undefeated. Tennessee is not for real. Houston surely is. Houston wins at home. In fact, Houston will probably go undefeated at home this year. Detroit at Arizona, who cares? New Orleans, undefeated at Tampa Bay. Saints often have a hard time playing in Raymond James. Not this week. They get to 2-0, and the hapless Bucks will be 0-2. Fire Schiano? Is it too soon for that? The Jags at the Raiders. This game is notable to see who's going to get the number 1 draft pick. It's going to go to the Jags. They lose. Oakland wins. The Raiders. You got the Broncos at the Giants. That's the marquee 4 o'clock matchup on CBS. Manning Bowl. Take the elder Manning. Broncos roll. And then in a great Sunday night matchup, you got the Niners at the Seahawks. Tough to call. Seattle does have that great home field advantage. And on a Sunday night, they're going to be in rare form, full of throat. I don't think the refs are going to play a role in this one. Take the Seahawks. And wrapping up week 2 of the NFL, 0-1 Pittsburgh at 0-1 Cincinnati. Both teams must get a win here. Every team in that division is 0-1. Whoever wins this game is going to have a leg up. I'm taking the Bengals at home to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, that's right. Slam the door on those picks. You can lock them up. Now, every week on the podcast, we do like to bring you some new music, something you might not have heard of. See if we can turn you on to something, add to your playlists. And this week, we're going to feature a band called Masked Intruder. They're a pop-punk band, and their gimmick is that they all wear ski masks, even on stage. That shit must get hot, but they do what they got to do to maintain that image. Legend has it that they are a combination of members of other famous punk bands, and they came together for this project. Their tunes are rocking, though. I got to give it to them. And many of the songs on the album have to do with being an intruder, home invasion type stuff. Let's give a little bit of a listen to a track called Hello Beautiful. It's written from the perspective of a stalker who breaks into a woman's house, or a dude's, and is hiding out and just looking for some love.
Hello, beautiful. Won't you tell me where you have been all my life? Where you hid yourself away these lonely nights I've wasted without you. Hello, beautiful. I can tell just by the look that's in your eyes.
So you see what you're getting here. Some tight pop-punk hooks, some pounding drums, and some good guitars. So that's actually their first single. Another one that they have on the radio, at least on satellite radio, is a song called Stick 'Em Up. And again, they're sticking with their criminal element theme. By the way, some of these lyrics are not safe for work, so I always like to tell you guys after the fact. If you're listening at work, you probably didn't want to have that up too loud. But there you have Masked Intruder, fam.com, Band of the Week. I think they're actually touring right now. That'd be a show I'd definitely want to check out. Love some punk rock. It's just the punk rockers you have to watch out for. A Doc Marten boot to your skull, some suspenders, and some Bud Heavy. Although I don't think skinheads are going to be showing up at too many Masked Intruder shows. And that about wraps it up for another exciting edition of the FirstOfMonday.com podcast. I'm Bruce Harris, and until next week, be good, y'all.